Hey folks, this is Best in Slot and welcome back once again to, second time ever, 5 good, 5 bad. A mini review of sorts highlighting the high and low points of the latest Jurassic World Evolution 2 DLC. This time it's the new hybrid focused pack, the Secret Species Pack. Let me know what your favourite or least favourite parts of this pack are down below, and let's get started and dig in.
Good one.
Last time in the Cretaceous Predator pack, one of the highlights was the sneaky addition of new social animations to Mosasaurus and Tylosaurus. And, well, it's not much different this time. The revelation that not only do the hybrid animals have social animations with their parent animals, inverted commas, except for Spinosaurus, which would be really cool to see down the line someday, but that we actually have two brand new, unique social animations for the Ankylodocus/Ankylosaurus and Spinoraptor/Velociraptor combinations, and both of them are some of the very best social animations in the game, full of personality and life. Social animations are some of my favourite additions to the game, because unlike say, human kills, it's something you're likely to see a lot in general gameplay, so it's important that they give your dinosaurs a good boost of personality.
Bad one.
Unfortunately, where we're seeing these beautiful new animations, we're also seeing continuous reuse of animations as well. Stegoceratops, which we'll talk about again later, doesn't offer much new at all, and even the fan favourite Spinoraptor reuses several animations from other dinosaurs, most noticeably the recurrence, yet again, of the Australovenator small herbivore kill, for probably the 50th time by now. It's a cool kill animation, it really is. And given the circumstances around this pack, a little reuse is to be expected. It's just a shame to see such a unique and loved dinosaur like the Spinoraptor have the same kill as a bunch of other carnivores.
Good too.
Now, whilst it may lack in new animations, it's safe to say that Ankylodocus' glow up is one of the highlights of the pack. Taking a horrendously designed dinosaur, no offense to the old designer. It was second from bottom though in my final Jurassic World Evolution 1 rankings, and turning it into this, in my opinion, quite beautiful thing is genuinely really impressive. Shout out here to Emmy Chu, who has come in as a concept artist at Frontier and designed some of the best dinosaurs in the entire game. Utahraptor, Concavenator, and now this Ankylodocus redesign. The best part is it actually feels like a hybrid, it's a meshing of the two dinosaurs, rather than a Diplodocus with some bits stuck on top and a really, really stupid face.
Bad too.
Unfortunate then that, just as it did with the first game, Ankylodocus highlights a persistent problem with the sauropods in this game and their lack of defensive capabilities. On one hand, for me at least, it couldn't be pack hunted, which is a good step in the right direction, but giving a gigantic sauropod all this armor plating and, more importantly, a gigantic club, and seeing it not utilize them at all remains really disappointing. This is a shame with other sauropods as well, but the Ankylodocus with its defensive wares really highlights what an annoyance this is. This is something I've come to terms with, you'll have heard me do so during the video, expecting nothing else, but I do think it's a big shame, and I know it's one of those features that's very, very high on the public's wish list as well.
Good 3.
Good 3 is the, for me, surprisingly good Spinoceratops inclusion. Persistent viewers will know I'm no great fan of Camp Cretaceous, but Frontier have done a few really good things with the Spinoceratops that elevates it to being a worthy inclusion, even if it does suffer a little bit from looking like a Sinoceratops with a sail. So what are those good things? Well, it's huge, for one, which is fun. It's twice the size or so of the Sinoceratops, which I really like. It's got a fish-eating animation, which is both canonically appropriate and also just wonderfully bizarre to see for something that looks primarily like a ceratopsid. It reminds me of the meat-eating Pachycephalosaurus in Wildlife Park 3. Finally, more so than really any other dinosaur in the pack, Spinoceratops has fantastic skins. The Lux skin coating the entire sail is great, and the Frontier suite of patterns in general is really varied in colour and pattern and just absolutely beautiful. There's clearly a little bit of extra effort in this one and it really paid off.
Bad 3.
Our other ceratopsid didn't fare quite so well, however. I was never a big fan of Stegoceratops, but comparing it to the glowed up Ankylodocus and the standard of animal that Frontier releases nowadays, It just, well, it's pretty bad. I know some people love it, I do, but it is the absolute definition of a hybrid that takes one dinosaur and then just glues bits of another dinosaur onto it, not to mention how excessive the spikes and plates etc. are. And it doesn't even use the Thagomizer. I'm really surprised this one didn't get a remodel akin to the Ankylodocus to blend the dinosaurs together a little bit better, or even to render it more like the Nasutoceratops hybrid that it originally was in the canon.
Good for.
Now, whilst I decried the lack of new animations earlier, it is worth appreciating the great ones that were added, and the Spinoraptor human kill is one of the very best. Chasing down the humans, lifting them up by 1 foot, almost toying and bored with their prey as it looks around. The human actively kicks the Spinoraptor in retaliation, and then the Spino smashes them into the ground to finish them off. It's a lovely, well, not lovely for the human, but it's a lovely little animation that tells a little story every time you see it. It's also what the kids are calling Spinosaurus coded, as it doesn't feel like a behaviour the Velociraptor would ever do. It's a really good mix of aggression and slight playfulness, and it's really unique, it stands out, which for me is always the most important part of the human kill animations.
Bad for.
So, as you can tell, I'm sort of okay with the Spinoraptor, and I think it didn't need any model changes. It's beautiful. But paying for it, and in particular the Stegoceratops, does feel a little bit iffy to me. There's work gone into these dinosaurs. It isn't a 5-minute job just clicking a button to pour them across. But it's also undeniable that the Spinoraptor and Stegoceratops did take less work than a brand new species would have. Now, we've already talked about why this pack was as limited as it was, owing to things like December layoffs at Frontier and probably a smaller crew these days. But when half your new DLC is dinosaurs people have already paid for before, it doesn't sit quite right with me. It's a little bit iffy. We wanted these dinosaurs back, of course, and I really appreciate their return, but I think a better middle ground would have been to expand the pack a little bit more, even if that required delaying the pack, and adding our first aquatic and pterosaur hybrids along with them. Now that would fill a weirdly neglected niche and absolutely better justify the price of the pack. I think if we had 5 or 6 dinosaurs in this, 5 or 6 creatures I should say, nobody would care that they're paying again for the Stegoceratops and the Spinoraptor.
Good 5.
Now this one isn't directly pack related, we'll talk about that more in a bad 5, but there is more to come. If the Secret Species Pack was the last DLC, I think it would have felt a little bit more disappointing than it does. Given the circumstances, it is absolutely okay to be both disappointed with the pack, but also appreciative of the reasons that are likely behind its lower level of content. What's really important is what Frontier does next. Is this the new standard, or are they going to bounce back hard with the 10th DLC? There's a lot riding on it, but knowing we've got more to come is exciting regardless. And who knows, they might even push past the 10th.
Bad 5.
Now that last one wasn't directly pack related, and that's because thinking of 5 good and indeed 5 bad things for this pack was quite difficult, actually. And ironically, the reason for that is because of this bad thing. The lack of free update is absolutely the most disappointing aspect of the Secret Species Pack. Again, I suspect layoffs etc. were responsible for this, so I'm not going to act like it's a harbinger of internal doom quite yet. Seems a bit dramatic for a dinosaur video game, I suppose, but it is disappointing. The free updates are the highlights of the DLC for me, more so than any of the new species we ever get, maybe except Utahraptor. And finding out we were only going to get some bug fixes this time around made the whole thing a little bit of a damp squib, and made this video a lot harder to write to boot, because there's just a lot less to talk about this time around. I can only hope there's going to be a big course correction with the next update, because there are certainly a few upgrades we need to the base game before updates finish. So, 5 good, 5 bad. Would you have added anything to either of these lists? What did you think of the DLC in general? What are you hoping for in that 10th DLC? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Let me know down below, and I'll see you lovely folks next time. Thank you so much for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Oh, from me like all that nonsense. Bye.